About 100 suits plus have been filed in recent weeks concerning or revolving around the events of Astroworld and Travis Scott's and Drake's performance at Astroworld a couple of weeks ago. I have joining me today to talk about Astroworld, D'Amico Rump, who is a civil defense attorney with Cruiser Mitchell here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we are going to talk about a little bit from both perspectives, a little bit about Astroworld. Miko, we've got claims likely for wrongful death and inadequate security, probably being the most prominent claims that the plaintiff's lawyers have filed already in this case against, seems like the prominent defendants that have been listed are Travis Scott, Drake, Live Nation, NRG, and a couple other big concert promoters have been listed as the prominent defendants in this case. This was supposed to be an event with a maximum capacity of about 50,000 people. It was estimated that more than 100,000 people was packed inside of this venue. There was not enough law enforcement or other security personnel to control the crowd. There was not enough barriers to control the crowd, to prevent the crowd from entering or breaching the barriers that were
regarding who are the appropriate defendants in this case. So the first thing I would imagine that a plaintiff's attorney would want to do in these cases is figuring out who the appropriate attorneys are. I mean, the appropriate defendants are in this situation. You've listed off, Travis Scott. I forget what his real name is, but it's not Travis Scott. We've got Aubrey Graham. Obviously, that's Drake. Live Nation, which I believe is actually the promoter, the overall concert promoter. And then we've got a number of different subcontractors who presumably entered into a contract either with Live Nation or directly with Travis Scott. I doubt it was directly with him. But either way, several subcontractors that would have been, they would have been responsible for a number of things. It could have been obviously collecting tickets. It could have been handing out concessions, could have been security personnel. So we've got obviously we want to figure out who the right parties are, get everyone to the table. In terms of the strongest defense that we have here, one of the things that we have to be wary of is the simple fact of the identity of the plaintiff. Now, I think quite a few people never really think about this. And you made mention of this in your opening. This event was actually supposed to be a capacity crowd of approximately 50,000. And there's an estimate that there's approximately 100,000 people that are at the event. So that means essentially, if those estimates are correct in terms of 100,000 people being there, that means 1 in every 2 people were trespassers, right? Because they weren't even supposed to be, either they entered illegally or the event was overbooked. So we kind of got to figure that out. Now, if this event was only ticketed for 50,000 people and we've got 100,000 people in there, the folks who are bringing the claim, let's figure out whether or not they're invitees, licensees, or trespassers, right? Because that's going to affect whatever the venue's duty is to that particular person. Obviously, typically there's a lower standard that applies to a licensee or a trespasser. And typically that is basically refrain from intentionally harming that person. So in this particular instance,
and for our crowd, the difference between whether or not, at least in Georgia, whether or not you are an invitee or a trespasser is very pivotal, because whether or not you're an invitee or trespasser really is the difference upon which the duty to you is owed, because there really is almost no duty on a trespasser, except that they can't egregiously treat you or intentionally hurt you. Now, there is an issue. Before we wrap this segment up, there is an issue floating around about a criminal investigation.
Right.
Right. Because there were rumors that some members of the crowd were being injected with some sort of narcotic or some sort of substance that was altering their physical or mental state. There is a criminal investigation into that. If there is something that comes about that and that is linked to Travis Scott or Drake or someone connected to the promotion or to the concert, then I think perhaps there is liability to the trespassers even. So I think it is overall going to be a case where throughout the course of the next couple, 3-4 years, in my view, I think the defendants are going to have to find a way to settle these cases, these claims. I do not know much about the insurance coverage. I do not think insurance coverage is an issue in this case because we are talking about corporations who have deep pockets. So I do not think that insurance coverage is much of an issue in this case. I will, in wrapping up this segment, I will give you.
Now, I will say this. Thanks to TMZ, I was actually able to pull up the certificate of insurance for at least one of the defendants. One of the defendants is ASM Global Parent Inc. at NRG Park. Presumably, those are the owners of NRG Park. They have a $1 million commercial general liability policy, and that's in conjunction with a $25 million umbrella policy. And I think so far that's the only thing that's been publicly disclosed with regard to insurance coverage. So there's at least 26 million out there, but with over 100 claims, I mean, that wouldn't be nearly enough. It seems like sort of the standard going rate, or at least of the damages that are being alleged in a lot of these lawsuits is, $1 million. So presumably there could be, if there is no other insurance coverage, this could obviously personally affect the financial means of any of the corporations or Travis Scott or Drake.